terrific additions here in Pittsburgh. 55 degrees, mostly sunny skies expected the rest of the afternoon. The Oakland Raiders riding a 3-game winning streak behind head coach Tom Cable. Victories over Denver, Seattle, and Kansas City. Raiders have won 4 of their last 5. Meanwhile, the Steelers, Mike Tomlin and company, humbled last week on national TV against New England. They didn't have any sacks. They had no interceptions. They had no forced turnovers. They did not play Steeler football. Pittsburgh at 6-3, tied with Baltimore for first place in the AFC North. Pittsburgh has won the toss. Sebastian Janikowski will kick it off for Oakland. We're underway from Heinz Field. Emmanuel Sanders, the deep man, and it's Redmond in front of him. Slow down Redmond across the 20-yard line, and that's where Pittsburgh will open up as Stevie Brown makes the play on special teams. 19-yard return. Ben Roethlisberger, since starting his first game, Dan, in Week 6, he leads the NFL in passing yards from that point, 1,304 on the season.
Yeah, and when I asked offensive coordinator Bruce Arians what the edge the Steelers might have today, he simply said, Big Ben. We must keep him upright. He talked about those 5 sacks against the Patriots last week. Remember, the Raiders, they rank 3rd in getting after the quarterback in the entire league.
Open up with a 1st and 10 at the 23-yard line. A double tight end set with Miller and Spaeth. Mendenhall in the backfield. On 1st down, Roethlisberger to throw. And makes the connection. He's got Heath Miller. Extra yardage along the sideline.
They're going to say stepped out of bounds about after 7 yards. Good start for the Steelers, getting the ball out to their big tight end. 26 catches now. That is right about where he stepped out of bounds. So they'll take away that good gain and bring it back to about the 29-yard line.
They'll give him 6 yards on that pickup from Roethlisberger. Heath Miller, numbers are down from last year. Went to the Pro Bowl last season. A big target at 6'5", 256 for this Pittsburgh offense. Play clock is winding down. Will the Steelers get a playoff? Down to 2, down to 1. Quick count. And a running play. Mendenhall with a cut. And thrown down. A gain of a half a yard of the play by Richard Seymour, playing at an extremely high level. The Steelers' offensive line changes because of the injury to Max Starks. Jonathan Scott at left tackle. Ramon Foster starting at right guard for Trey Essex, who's backing up at tackle and guard. We talked about Hines Ward. That helps Mike Wallace because he has had a breakout season, the big playability in his second year from Mississippi. He's got 7 touchdowns, on pace for over 1,100 yards. Receiving 3rd and 3 now for the Steelers. Empty backfield. Crowd the line of scrimmage. Roethlisberger with a long count, working out of the gun. They handle the rush initially. Roethlisberger a punt. And Roethlisberger can't break free of Trevor Scott. This Oakland team knows how to get to the quarterback, and they do it with pressure by committee.
Yeah, this will go down as a 1-yard rush for Roethlisberger. He had bunch formations on both sides and just couldn't find anybody. Scott picking up his first full sack of the year.
So Trevor Scott, good quickness. The converted tight end over the punting. And Nick Miller, the deep man. He will field it in a crowd cleanly at the 28-yard line, a 43-yard punt. And Jason Campbell will lead this Oakland offense. Campbell, last 3 games, averaging 247 yards per game. He's got 5 touchdowns and 1 pick.
And he told us yesterday he understands how well the Steelers defend the run. And when he throws, he knows Harrison and Woodley come around that corner pretty good. So watch for Campbell today to be conscious of stepping up into the pocket to avoid the sacks.
1st and 10 of the 28. 3 receivers set for Campbell to open up with McFadden in the backfield. This Oakland offense has been rolling the last few weeks. McFadden's been a big part of it. And McFadden stood up as he's able to cross the 30-yard line for a 3-yard pickup. Lawrence Timmons over there with James Farrier defensively. Offensively, Oakland comes in number 12 in total offense. Jared Veldheer, one of 3 rookies in the NFL, starting at left tackle. Backs and receivers. Injury, Darius Hayward-Bay is out, but Zach Miller is back. Miller nursing a foot injury. He's a big part of this Oakland offense. Hayward Bay sitting this one out because of a hamstring injury. It had been nagging him throughout the week. Double tight end set with Miller and Myers. 2nd and 7. Rush coming. Campbell gets rid of it and complete to Louis Murphy underneath. Penalty flag down as Campbell took the hit.
Took the hit from Lamar Woodley. Woodley
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 56. Hit high to the quarterback. 15-yard penalty, automatic.
Woodley, who was fined for his hit on Tom Brady last week, is going to come in, and according to our official, boy, that's a real iffy call. Did not hit him in the head, did not lead with his helmet, just pushed Campbell to the ground. That is a bad call. Check this out. Oh, this is what happened last week against Brady coming around the corner here. And this was a good call because he really gave Brady a shot to the back of the head there, but that call on Woodley, bad call.
Woodley said he was actually shocked about the fine. He felt he had just pushed Brady, and he said, I guess it's who you hit in this league. Quick hitter, Johnny Lee Higgins, crossing the 35-yard line, a 17-yard hookup, brought down by Keenan Lewis of Pittsburgh, and Oakland is on the move.
Yeah, quick 3-step drop by Campbell, getting the ball out quickly between the zone, but I thought it was interesting in listening to Campbell tell us that he was shocked that Brady was not blitzed more by the Steelers last week. He expects a lot of blitzing today on him.
Campbell was watching that game at home. Raiders are coming off their bye week. 1st and 10 now for Oakland. At the Pittsburgh 33, shotgun formation. Campbell going up top, incomplete, and a flag thrown.
Either going to get holding against the Steelers or illegal contact down the field.
Johnny Lee Higgins, the intended target.
Holding, defense, number 24. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
This was going to be a double move on Higgins, by Higgins on the outside, guarded by Ike Taylor. There's the first move to the inside. There's the grab. That's a good call. That's holding against Ike Taylor. Ball in the air, uncatchable. Well thrown out of bounds by Campbell, but another Pittsburgh mistake.
So 2 penalties against the Steelers already. And the Raiders now with a 1st and 10 at the 28. Jacoby Ford has come on. Marcel Reese is set up in the slot. Ford had the big game in the victory over Kansas City 2 weeks ago. Deep ball to the end zone. Diving attempt by Louis Murphy. Murphy was walking a tightrope along the sideline in a matchup with Ike Taylor, and a flag thrown as Murphy had some words for the official out there. Taylor raising his arms in disbelief. And now Tony Corrente will sort things out.
Yeah, apparently he went out of bounds and came back in and touched the ball on his dive in the end zone.
The receiver stepped out of bounds, was the first to come back in, touch the ball. 5-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
So Louis Murphy, who's missed the last 2 games with a bruised lung, back in there.
And he had a huge game against the Steelers last year. Harry steps out of bounds and he barely touches the ball. That's a good call.
Murphy's claim is that he was forced out along that sideline. And first penalty against Oakland. Back it up to the 33. 1st and 15 now for the Raiders. McFadden in the backfield. Campbell pump fake. Delayed handoff. It's McFadden rumbling his way out across the 30 for a 5-yard gain. Timmons once again over there defensively for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh defense comes in ranked 9th overall. Nick Eason is in for the injured Brett Kiesel, forced to sit this one out with a hamstring injury. He missed the New England game as well. Linebackers, everybody's been talking about Lawrence Timmons and the improvements he's made. He's now a legitimate playmaker for this defense. And in the secondary, Brian McFadden's brother, Walter McFadden, is on the Raiders at defensive back, but Walter McFadden is inactive today. 2nd and 10. Shotgun formation. Campbell gets rid of it. And incomplete, trying to hit Zach Miller. Miller made an effort with that right arm.
And the other thing is that Miller's looking right back into the angle of the sun there. Ball thrown high and behind him. But you can tell that Campbell is very anxious to get rid of the ball before that pass rush can get to him.
Well, Khalif Barnes comes in, and he is an eligible receiver. And he's made 2 catches so far this season, including a touchdown. We asked Jason Campbell about Barnes. He said, you know what? He's got pretty good hands. Now he's just demanding the ball when he comes out of the huddle.
And here he is as a tight end, an eligible receiver because he reported.
And Oakland will use a timeout. Play clock was winding down. We're just underway in Pittsburgh. No score. Raiders are driving. The Oakland Raiders trying to win their 4th game in a row. Haven't won 4 in a row since a 5-game winning streak back in November, December of 2002. William Gay is in as the nickel for Pittsburgh. This is a 3rd and 10 now for Oakland. After the timeout, Campbell working out of the gun. Protection is there initially. Campbell now out of the pocket, throwing on the move, and complete to Johnny Lee Higgins. It'll be short of a first down, brought down by Ike Taylor. And the field goal unit will come on for the Oakland Raiders.
That was an interesting offensive set for the Raiders. They had no tight end in the game. Khalif Barnes eligible, but he's in there for blocking purposes. Raiders have not been very good converting 3rd downs this season. They fail on that one, just 33% on 3rd downs.
Sebastian Janikowski hit a big field goal 2 weeks ago to send the Kansas City game into overtime. This is a 41-yard attempt. Leckler will hold it. Raiders looking to get on the board first from 41 yards away. He's got it. Oakland with a 3-0 lead over Pittsburgh. Raiders score on their first possession. We've got 9:50 to play, first quarter. Scoring summary, 7 plays, 49 yards. It took 3 minutes and 27 seconds, culminating in a Janikowski 41-yard field goal. He's kicking off once again. Low kickoff. It's going to roll to the 14-yard line. Scooped up by Redmond, and Isaac Redmond taking it to the 35 for Pittsburgh. A 21-yard return for the first-year running back out of Bowie State. Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, they come in ranked 24th in the NFL. Just over 313 yards per game. They're 16th in the NFL in scoring, just over 22 points per game. The Oakland Raiders, one of 2 teams that Roethlisberger has never beaten, the other being Atlanta. 5 defensive backs for Oakland to open up this drive defensively, and a 1st and 10 from the 35. Direct snap, Antoine Randall throws it back for Roethlisberger. Deep ball is short and incomplete. Hines Ward, the intended target. They went to the gadget play, and it didn't work.
Yeah, just the timing of the gadget play looked off. Let's go back and take a look at it. Remember, Antoine Randall was a former quarterback at Indiana, so he's used to handling the ball. He gets this high snap. Now he's in a little bit of pressure. Here's Ward right here, and he is open. Ball comes in too low, and it almost is intercepted.
2nd and 10. It didn't turn into the disaster for the Steelers, but got nothing to show for it. Mendenhall. And Mendenhall able to keep his legs moving and spin his way for a 4-yard pickup. Lamar Houston over there defensively for the Raiders. Take a look at the Oakland defense and Richard Seymour. Ben Roethlisberger said Seymour should be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate in the NFL. Seymour has been to 5 Pro Bowls. Linebackers, Cameron Wembley has been a nice addition, acquired in a trade for Cleveland. He's got 5 sacks, and he's been a stabilizing force among that group. Chris Johnson starting for the injured Nnamdi Asomugha. Asomugha missed the Kansas City game with a sprained ankle, had the bye week, but it's still not up to snuff. And a 5-receiver set here for Pittsburgh on a 3rd and 6. Steelers have had a tough time getting their offense going in this first quarter. Roethlisberger, deep ball, incomplete. He was trying to hit Emmanuel Sanders, the rookie out of SMU. And the Steelers offense just out of sync in the early going.
Yeah, Roethlisberger misses Ward on a flea flicker, and now Emmanuel Sanders, rookie out of SMU, watches this ball go right through his hands. He got behind Branch, ball right on target. That's the type of play the Steelers need.
Daniel Sepulveda for his 2nd punt. Nick Miller is back, standing at his own 15, backpedals to the 11, and buried right there. Steelers getting down the field in a hurry. Keenan Lewis along with Anthony Madison combined. 50-yard punt and no return. Jason Campbell, 4-2 as a starter this season for the Raiders, trying to get another win under his belt. Dan, I get a lot of emails and letters from fans during the week that said, we love the Fouts focus, but we want defense. Can you tell Dan to do some defense?
Well, here you go. It's elementary why Troy Polamalu continues to be one of the outstanding safeties in the NFL. Comes down to the 3 R's: read the formation, react to the blocking pattern, and nobody rallies to the ball better than Troy Polamalu.
Well, we'll see Polamalu here on a 1st and 10. A handoff, Darren McFadden, and he is stonewalled. First man there, Ryan Clark, leading that charge for Pittsburgh, limits McFadden to a gain of 1. Now, there are some that feel, though, Polamalu has not had the same impact that he's had over the course of his career. Now in his 8th season in the NFL, one of the elite defensive players in the NFL. Lawrence Timmons has taken on a little more responsibility. 2nd and 9 for Oakland, shotgun formation. Campbell, incomplete, trying to hook up with Zach Miller. James Farrior was there defensively, and Harrison with a shot on Campbell.
Yeah, Harrison with a real good blindside blitz. 92 working in tandem there with Timmons. That's quite a 1-2 punch on the blind side of Jason Campbell.
Campbell so far 3 of 5, 27 yards. Harrison, 3 straight Pro Bowls, the 2008 NFL Defensive Player of the Year. 3rd and 9. Crowd is energized early. From the gun, Campbell. A rifle to Jacoby Ford, and a flag comes down. Ryan Clark is down, the rookie from Clemson, hauling it in. Had a career performance 2 weeks ago in that 23-20 win in overtime against Kansas City. 6 catches, 148 yards.
There's a completed pass at the conclusion of the play. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, helmet-to-helmet contact, defense number 25. 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down.
So it's injury to insult for Ryan Clark.
I'm not so sure this is a good call. It looked like Clark was coming in low. Ford finds the hole in the zone defense, and he hit him below the shoulder pad.
Penalty against Ryan Clark. He's on the Pittsburgh sideline, replaced by Ryan Mundy, 2nd-year safety out of West Virginia. And McFadden drilled by Polamalu. It's a loss of 5 on the play. Back to the penalty, or what should not have been a penalty according to you, Dan.
Well, watch number 25, Clark, come in here. Ford goes high for the ball, but he is nowhere near the helmet of Ford when he makes contact. I think the officials are trying to send a message to both these teams. They know that both teams are riled up. They have a history of playing very physical football. Referees want to control that this afternoon, apparently.
But the message seems to be a little bit lopsided right now to Pittsburgh. 2nd and 15. Campbell had it knocked down. The rush coming from William Gay.
That's 2 big plays in a row for William Gay. He forced McFadden deep and dropped him for a loss on the previous run play. And here, Dick LeBeau has him at the line of scrimmage, reading the 3-step drop of Jason Campbell out of the shotgun. Quick pass, and there is Gay way up in the air to knock it down.
The athletic 4th-year corner out of Louisville.
Well, if he could have hung on to that, he would have scored.
And Ryan Clark is back in there for the Steelers. Now a 3rd and 15 for Oakland. Play clock winding down. 1 second, they get the snap off. Little pump and lean. Campbell. Home run ball, contact, and incomplete. Johnny Lee Higgins in a matchup with Bryant McFadden. And the experience wins out in favor of McFadden. Raiders will punt.
We talked about how lopsided this game has been as far as those penalties concerned. 3 penalties now against Pittsburgh for 35 yards.
Shane Leckler, best punter in the NFL, is on, averaging 49 yards per punt, 42.4 net. Antonio Brown, the deep man. He will field it inside the 10, makes his move upfield, and then hit hard as he came up short of the 15-yard line. Just short. That's where the Steelers will open up a 54-yard punt and a 3-0 lead for Oakland. Raiders with a 3-0 lead over Pittsburgh. 6:35 remaining here in the first quarter, and Steelers take over, 1st and 10 at their own 15-yard line. Last week, their worst home loss since December of 2006, and they lost to Baltimore 31-7. The 39-26 score from last week, not even indicative of how lopsided it was. Handoff, Mendenhall trying to break free, and he'll pick up 5 yards. Mike Mitchell with the stop. Let's go back to the punt for a moment, Dan. Explain to me what's happening here with all-world punter Shane Lechler.
Well, that appears to be a smelling salts there. I guess he's getting fired up to go down and, yep, there he littered, actually. That should be a 5-yard penalty for littering. Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a punter get so jacked up to go down and cover one of his own punts.
We'll keep an eye on that for his next punt. On a 2nd and 5 now for Pittsburgh. Double tight end set, Miller and Spaeth. Ward in motion on 2nd down. Fake the handoff. Little dump off for Miller. Fighting for extra yardage. And he's brought down first by Tyvon Branch. Then he got some help from the rookie Rolando McClain. It's a 3-yard gain. With the new NFL.com mobile app, you can stay in the game no matter where you are this holiday season. Go to NFL.com/mobile and download the apps today. Penalty marker thrown.
Personal foul. Clipping, number 73, offense. This penalty assessed half the distance to the goal. Repeat, 2nd down.
And that's Ramon Foster, the 2nd-year right guard out of Tennessee. Had 4 starts in 2009. They are thin on that offensive line, and Trey Essex, who was starting at right guard, is now backing up the guard and tackle position for Mike Tomlin's squad.
Well, you just don't hear the call clipping anymore, do you? But that's where an offensive lineman will chase a defensive lineman and throw at the back of his legs. That's what Foster was called for.
4 penalties costing this Pittsburgh team so far. Back it up to the 11-yard line of the Steelers. 2nd and 14. Roethlisberger. Deep ball. It's Wallace going airborne. Out-muscles Chris Johnson for the football. Mike Wallace, a blossoming star, 27 yards down the sideline.
He wants to shake the label of being a one-trick pony. In other words, that he's just a speedster. This is a catch in traffic, adjusting to the back shoulder fade perfectly and giving the Steelers a much-needed lift on offense.
Mike Tomlin will needle him a bit and call him one-trick pony just to motivate him. And Wallace is showing he is more than just a speedster. He does have excellent speed, 4.3 ability in the 40. New set of downs for Pittsburgh. Roethlisberger out of the pocket, throwing, and that rainbow too far for Heath Miller to catch up to. Desmond Bryant supplied the pressure on Big Ben.
And that's the key for stopping Roethlisberger, is to force him to throw early and put pressure on him. He's the toughest quarterback to bring down. He's the best at extending plays and giving his receivers time to work in the secondary. But with this Raider pass rush, primarily from their front 4, he's going to have a tough time extending plays this afternoon.
2nd and 10 now for the Steelers. 4:32 to play in this first quarter. Handoff for Mendenhall and running into a crowd. Mendenhall crosses the 40, picks up 3 yards on the play. Lamar Houston, another talented rookie on this Oakland defense, among those there making the stop. And that's been a big key for the Oakland Raiders, getting big-time performances from their rookies. This draft class has certainly contributed for defensive coordinator John Marshall.
Yeah, Marshall, players really appreciate the way he lets them use their talents to make plays. Never lets them get complacent, though.
3rd and 7 now for the Steelers. Raiders leading it 3-0, but Weldon Moore is in the game for Pittsburgh. Shotgun formation. Roethlisberger looks, throws to the open man, Sanders. And a first down into Oakland territory, thrown down by Stanford Routt. 10th catch of the season for Sanders, 3rd-round pick from SMU.
Another one of the rookies that are making an impact. This time it's for the Steelers. That's a good sharp route by Sanders as he gets down the field before Routt can tackle him. 13 yards on the play, but more importantly, moves the chains all the way into Oakland territory.
Sanders had his first NFL touchdown last week in that loss to New England. Mendenhall is back, and a 1st and 10 at the 46 of Oakland. Running play. Mendenhall running off tackle, cutting it to the outside, and Mendenhall with a stutter step move. Very close to a first down. Flozell Adams, the veteran on that right side, the 5-time Pro Bowler, helping to lead the way for a 9-yard pickup.
Yeah, real good job of Mendenhall seeing the initial hole close right here and then seeing the hole to the outside. That's excellent blocking all the way along that front line. Flozell Adams with the key block on the corner.
8th play of the drive coming up, 2nd and 1. Mendenhall 24 yards on the ground. He's a bruiser, doesn't mind contact, had over 1,100 yards rushing last season and on his way to over 1,000 again this season. Mendenhall slicing through that running lane and just short of the 30-yard line. Steelers have got something going here, a 6-yard pickup. NFL Today update. Let's head to New York and JB.
Ian and Dan, after spotting Tennessee a 7-0 lead, McNabb caps an 8-play, 79-yard drive, throwing that 5-yarder to the team's leading receiver, Santana Moss. It's all knotted at 7 late in the first. Back to Ian Eagle and Dan Fouts.
Well, we're talking about Pittsburgh trying to bounce back. How about Washington trying to bounce back? They were absolutely humiliated by Michael Vick on Monday Night Football. Long Steeler drive on a pitch. Mendenhall. And takes it up the gut. Modest gain of 3, cut down by Matt Shaughnessy. And that's one thing about this Oakland defense, Dan, and it's emerged as a big storyline. They rotate defensive linemen. They've got so many different players that can make plays. They're playing without their star on the back line, Nnamdi Asomugha, today because of the ankle injury.
And it's interesting that the Steelers are going right at the heart of the Raider defense. Seymour, Kelly, and middle linebacker Rolando McClain.
They are the number 6 ranked defense in the NFL this season. The 24th against the run. 2nd and 7. Fake the pitch. Roethlisberger looks, throws in stride. Hines Ward, big gainer out on the perimeter. Perfectly executed, well timed, and a 15-yard catch and run for the veteran Ward.
Yeah, time to start a new streak for Hines Ward. He gets totally lost coming in motion behind the formation. No defensive back anywhere near him. It takes middle linebacker McClain to finally get him out of bounds.
Yeah, that concussion last week cost him his streak of regular season games with a catch. It was snapped at 186, the 3rd longest in NFL history. He had actually made a catch. Belichick challenged the play, and it was nullified, reversed. So no catch for Ward. Handoff. Mendenhall. And Mendenhall is thrown down. Quentin Groves holding his ground on the outside. And that will be the final play of this first quarter. Oakland with a 3-0 lead over Pittsburgh. The old school rivalry. The Raiders and the Steelers. We'll come back. Second quarter action here in Pittsburgh. It's coming up after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Raiders have a 3-0 lead over Pittsburgh. We start the second quarter here at Heinz Field. Ian Eagle, Dan Fouts, the rest of our CBS crew. Steelers inside the red zone, a 2nd and 10. Ricky Brown is in for Rolando McClain, who's getting checked out along the Oakland sideline. Handoff, Mendenhall. He got through that hole quickly, and then it closed up in a hurry. Richard Seymour exchanging some words after the play. There is the talented rookie, number 8 pick overall from Alabama, Rolando McClain, the middle linebacker.
And for Pittsburgh, in the middle of that little scrum with Richard Seymour was their talented rookie center, Marquise Pouncey.
Boy, everybody had such high praise for Pouncey. Roethlisberger saying he's so smart and quick. He picks things up so fast, and they've developed chemistry very quickly. Not an easy position to play as a first-year player in the NFL. And Pouncey has stepped in seamlessly. Shotgun formation on a 3rd and 6 now for Pittsburgh. Steelers trying to take the lead. Roethlisberger underneath, complete to Mewelde Moore. And he's got a first down. It'll be 1st and goal after the 7-yard pickup. Groves combining with Brown to bring down the change of pace back Moore.
That was a great catch. Yeah, you should get a congratulations from your head coach on that play. Moore's 17th catch of the year, right between the linebackers. Groves 52 and Ricky Brown 57. A good route and then concentration as he gets sandwiched but picks up the first down.
First and goal for Pittsburgh from the 5. Roethlisberger on a give. Mendenhall knifing his way for the touchdown. Good block by Heath Miller. And the Steelers take their first lead of the day. Rashard Mendenhall has now scored the last 11 straight Steeler rushing touchdowns. 14 plays, 85 yards, a long drive for Pittsburgh. Mendenhall his 8th rushing touchdown of the season. It took just over 8 minutes of game action. And Sean Sweezum, the new kicker after Jeff Reed was released, cut earlier this week. Two-time Super Bowl champion kicker is gone. Sweezum knocks it through. The fans react because the fans were a part of the equation for Reed. We'll tell you that story a little later.
This is just the 7th rushing touchdown allowed by the Raiders, but Roethlisberger found 5 different receivers on that drive. The key, the 27-yard reception to Wallace.
Pittsburgh Steelers at 6-3 on the season. They lead the Oakland Raiders 7-3 early stages of this second quarter. Mendenhall had 36 yards rushing on that drive. Sweezum, the new kicker for Pittsburgh, formerly with Dallas and Washington, kicks off the dangerous Jacoby Ford from the 9. Ford along the sideline and forced out of bounds. Ford had a 94-yard kickoff return for a touchdown against Kansas City 2 weeks ago. Tuesday on CBS, an NCIS safe house is attacked. Now, the hunt is on for a traitor. Mark Harmon stars in TV's #1 show. It's NCIS, Tuesday, only CBS. Well, Dan, you and I were in Denver when the Oakland Raiders dominated the Denver Broncos 59-14 in late October. I think that game really opened some eyes around the NFL that this might be a different Raider team. And even the Raiders players that we spoke with felt that that was a bit of a turning point where they started to believe. First and 10 for Oakland at the 25, rush coming, and Campbell is sacked. James Farrior came firing through like a rocket.
Well, the one thing the Raiders are having trouble this afternoon is protecting their quarterback. This sack by Farrior, he comes unblocked right up the middle. Langston Walker helping out on the inside. An 8-yard loss on first down deep in your own end of the field is tough to overcome, especially if you can't protect your quarterback.
Second sack of the season for the two-time Pro Bowler. All-around linebacker James Farrior. 2nd and 18 now for the Raiders. Handoff, McFadden. Nothing there. Picks up a yard and a half or 2. Farrior involved in that stop for Pittsburgh.
Now this defense, only 63 yards a game allowed by their opponent rushing the ball. That is #1, obviously, in the NFL. And they're showing their strength so far in this first half.
The 3rd lowest 9-game total of rushing yards allowed through 9 games. Only the 1995 San Francisco 49ers and 1991 New Orleans Saints put together a better stretch, 9-game stretch of stopping the run. 3rd and 16. From the gun, Campbell. Protection is there. Campbell throws on the hand of Zach Miller, but incomplete. They're trying to get Miller involved, but he is yet to catch a ball. Zach Miller trying to bounce back from missing that Kansas City game with an arch injury to his foot. And there is Shane Lechler, and there is the smelling salt.
And there's another 5-yard penalty for littering.
I don't believe that's in the rule book, Dan.
It should be. After all.
You care about the environment, don't you?
Absolutely. I'm green all over.
Lechler punting to Antonio Brown. Brown standing at his own 30-yard line. Spiraling kick. Brown moves forward from the 33. Flag down. Brown crossing into Oakland territory. Brown. Foot race. Touchdown.
2 flags down, no, one at the 10-yard line. as he was going in, but this one's going to come back for one of those illegal blocks. Great return by Brown. He could put that on his personal highlight reel. 67 yards, but it's all coming back.
There are 2 fouls in the play, both against Pittsburgh. Holding, receiving team number 22. This penalty is declined. Holding, receiving team number 29. This penalty is accepted. First down.
William Gay and Ryan Mundy both called on penalties. They accept the Mundy hold. Well, the smelling salts didn't help Leckler on the tackle, but it's coming back because of the penalty. On first down after the penalty, Mendenhall getting the call. Tommy Kelly there defensively. It's a loss on the play of 2 yards. Rolando McClain is returned to the field for Oakland. Coming up, Sprint halftime report. JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, Coach Cowher. They'll have the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the Sprint halftime report.
After that play, Jonathan Scott was slow to get back to the huddle. We talked about how thin the Steeler offensive line is. They cannot afford to lose anybody this afternoon.
2nd and 12 now for the Steelers. We'll hit the 11-minute mark of this second quarter. Shotgun formation, Roethlisberger. Pump and throw. Squeezes it into a tight space for Hines Ward. 3 Raiders in the vicinity. They pick up 9 yards. NFL Today update. Let's check in with JB.
Hey, Ian and Dan, the NFL's leading rushing touchdown maker, if you will, Arian Foster with a 2-yard TD run. His 11th of the season. That caps an 11-play, 67-yard drive. 7-3, Houston, Ian Eagle, and Dan Fouts.
JP, these are desperate times for the Houston Texans. Some tight losses. And taking on the Jets today. We'll keep you updated on that one. Tight one here so far. 7-3. Pittsburgh in front. Roethlisberger swings it to the outside. Heath Miller. It turns into a catch and run of 18 yards for Miller. And a scrum after the play was whistled dead. Tony Corrente right in the middle of it, trying to separate the Steelers and the Raiders.
And Roethlisberger saying it's going to be against the Raiders for personal foul. And here comes the march off. And there's no flags are thrown.
My time. I lost my whistle. You have an extra?
Well, we need a whistle for Tony Corrente.
And Jonathan Scott needs attention too.
Due to the injury to number 72.
What year is this? Is this 1976? Raiders at Steelers getting into it. Before the pushing and shoving after the whistle blew, Jonathan Scott got injured on the play, the starting left tackle. So Trey Essex is now in at left tackle. And it's a first down for Pittsburgh. Handoff for Mendenhall. Stutter step move up the middle. He picks up 4 yards. Richard Seymour got into it with Chris Kemoeatu.
Yeah, this is a pretty good one. They've got a pretty good death grip on each other. Nobody's going to give up. Nobody's going to let go. And if you're an official, you don't want to be anywhere near this or you're going to lose your whistle.
That's exactly what happened to Tony Corrente. He's got his whistle. Kemoeatu is back after a knee injury. Didn't play against New England. On 2nd and 6, Mendenhall unable to break free, and he is stopped by Cameron Wembley for a loss on the play of 4 yards. So back it up to the line of scrimmage, the 50-yard line. Mewelde Moore will now come on to replace Mendenhall.
Wembley, excuse me, but Wembley talked about how productive that front four is, and you talked about how they rotate guys in. They get John Henderson back after that stress fracture of his foot. So for Wembley, they said there's no one guy that teams can focus on.
Henderson missed 7 games with that injury. Wembley was acquired for a 3rd-round pick. He's an impressive pass rusher coming off the edge. Played in a 3-4 in Cleveland. He's made the transition quite nicely. Shotgun formation. Roethlisberger throwing. Oh, great hands. Emmanuel Sanders, it's ruled incomplete. Chris Johnson over there defensively, and the Steelers will punt. Wouldn't have been a first down even if he hauled it in.
Well, he's getting tugged and pulled on. That should have been a penalty on Chris Johnson as he grabbed the back of Sanders' jersey, but got away with it.
Sepulveda on to punt. Nick Miller standing at his own 8-yard line for Oakland. Miller from the 10. Nowhere to go. The Steelers coverage units getting down in a hurry. Anthony Madison leading that charge, a 40-yard punt, and a 7-3 advantage for Pittsburgh. 7-3, Pittsburgh in front. Darren McFadden comes in leading the NFL in rushing yards per game, 108 yards per game on the ground. He's been held to 5 yards so far. And McFadden met by James Farrior. 1-yard gain on the play for McFadden.
Yeah, he's averaging 5.4 yards a carry. Right now, he's got 6 carries for 6 yards because of the Steeler defense. And they're all involved. Watch Polamalu come up there. That dropped him for about a 4-yard loss on that play.
Haven't seen the Wildcat yet for the Oakland Raiders. McFadden, who was a quarterback in high school until his senior year, he got moved to running back. Still played a little bit of quarterback, and obviously we saw him run it to perfection at Arkansas. 2nd and 9, play fake. Campbell has time, throws, and complete. Initially, Jacoby Ford. They're going to rule it incomplete. He juggled and never made a football move with complete control of it.
Probably the reason he couldn't make that football move is Ike Taylor. Taylor with good reactions there. Watch his hands as he reaches in there and pokes the ball away from the rookie. I'm not sure if Ford was trying to reach to get yardage for the first down or not, but he had that ball in his grasp, but Taylor ripped it away.
Khalif Barnes, eligible receiver. They go with 6 offensive linemen on a 3rd and 9. Steelers leading the Raiders 7-3. Under 8 minutes to go, first half. Campbell looks. Campbell, ball was tipped and incomplete. Trying to hit Darren McFadden. Lawrence Timmons getting a piece of it. Timmons, who has great burst. They just know how to find the right talent for their system through the draft. Timmons and Lamar Woodley have just been perfect fits. And there is Shane Lechler getting himself pumped up to punt.
He might start getting a little dizzy.
Antonio Brown had a punt return for a touchdown called back after the hold. 2 holds, in fact. Lechler, booming kick. Brown fields at the 41. Up the field, he is brought down at the 44-yard line by Rock Cartwright on special teams. More second quarter action when we come back. Thanksgiving on the NFL Today. 1st and 10 for Pittsburgh at the 44-yard line after the Lechler punt. Steelers leading Oakland 7-3. Mendenhall in the backfield. He has 39 yards rushing and a touchdown. Roethlisberger lost the football. Tommy Kelly over there defensively to slap it down. Roethlisberger never got it off cleanly. It's 2nd and 10.
Yeah, Kelly goes 6'6", right in the middle of all the action working against Ramon Foster. You can see that right hand get up there. For the Steelers, good to see back in the lineup Jonathan Scott. But remember, they were looking at his ankle, so he may have problems with pass protection.
Roethlisberger, 7 of 12, 94 yards so far. 2nd and 10. Reverse. Randall L. to Mike Wallace. Wallace has got big-time speed. And high kicks it to the outside. Mike Wallace, we asked him, did you run track at Mississippi? He said, oh, they asked me to. I just wasn't into it. 19-yard rip.
Well, it's another trick play for the Steelers, and look at all the Raiders going this way as Wallace is coming the other way. Now that block right there is an illegal block by Flozell Adams on Cameron Wembley, not called. That got Wallace the corner and all those yards.
Longest run of the season for Wallace, had 2 previous carries for no yards. 1st and 10 in Oakland territory. Movement. Tommy Kelly making his way towards the quarterback. And Tony Corrente, who's got a new whistle, will make the call.
Encroachment defense to number 93. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Penalties have been a big problem for Tom Cable and the Raiders. 15 times they were flagged against the Kansas City Chiefs last time they played.
Well, Cable telling us that the attitude of this team has shifted completely. No more should have, could have, would have for these players and coaches. They've showed that they can be better than what they've showed in the past. The mentality has finally come through over the last month that he's been trying to create. Mendenhall, flag down. Brought down just inside the 20. Jonathan Scott on that left side may have been caught with a hold.
Yeah, I think he was holding Matt Shaughnessy.
Holding, offense number 72. 10-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
Remember, Max Starks done for the season. And that has forced Jonathan Scott, a fifth-year pro, to step in at left tackle.
Yeah, and for the Raiders, Matt Shaughnessy got up limping after Scott held him and then fell on the back of his legs.
They lost Starks with a neck injury, and they lost a 6'8", 345-pound starting left tackle who used to start at right tackle. 6 minutes to go, first half. Pittsburgh 7, Oakland 3. Take the handoff, Roethlisberger. And he tried to shovel it ahead for Mendenhall. Henderson, though, was there defensively, and Oakland is happy to have John Henderson, the two-time Pro Bowler, back in the lineup, formerly with Jacksonville.
Well, you're seeing what John Marshall, their defense coordinator, is able to do now with a healthy Henderson. Shaughnessy's in the game. We've already seen Desmond Bryant making plays. So they got 7 guys now that they can keep fresh along that defensive line and get pressure on Roethlisberger.
And Marshall continues to mix and match different combinations on that front four. Seymour is the staple, of course. 3 Super Bowls with the New England Patriots. 2nd and 15. Roethlisberger stepping up, throwing. It's caught. Able to complete it over the middle to Brown, the rookie out of Central Michigan. They're battling for the football, and Brown won't let go.
Well, you wouldn't either if that was just your second catch as an NFL wide receiver. 20 yards, big play down to the 21-yard line. And he won the wrestling match at the end of it. Great throw by Roethlisberger, right down the heart of the defense. Chris Johnson with the coverage, and the quarterback signaling first down.
So the 6th round draft pick contributing now for Pittsburgh. See the time of possession. They have doubled Oakland in that category. 5 minutes to play, first half. Play action. Roethlisberger pump. Roethlisberger end zone. Too high for Mike Wallace. Incomplete.
Yeah, I think the pump may have cost Roethlisberger because Wallace just ran out of room. He was behind the secondary, but he also was behind the end line of the end zone. Wallace goes about 6 feet. He needed to be about 7 feet tall to make this grab.
Second and 10 for Pittsburgh. Line of scrimmage just short of the 21. Mendenhall in the backfield already has a rushing touchdown today. They'll get the call up the middle. And the hole closed up as McLean was there to fill it. A 5-yard pickup for Mendenhall, combining with Desmond Bryant on the stop. It'll be 3rd and 5. Clock is moving. 4:38 and counting left in this second quarter.
Steelers are 3 for 6 converting third downs. You just feel a huge momentum swing going right now for the Steelers. Their attitude on offense, they've picked things up. They're attacking the Raiders. This is a key play for the Raiders.
Steelers playing with their 5th different starting offensive line combination this season. Shotgun for Roethlisberger. On 3rd down. Roethlisberger out of the pocket. He's got plenty of room. Roethlisberger cuts it upfield. Diving. He's in. Touchdown, Steelers. Roethlisberger. 16 yards. The full extension for the score.
And I think Steve B. Brown thought that Roethlisberger was going to slide after he got the necessary yardage for the first down, but I think Roethlisberger saw that Stevie Brown's a defensive back. Right about here, looked like he might slide. And now he just sees that end zone. What an effort. Puts his left hand down to maintain his balance and then stretches out all 6'5" to get in the end zone. What a play by the quarterback.
First rushing touchdown of the season for Roethlisberger. Longest run of the season as well. A 7-play, 56-yard drive. Squeeze him on for the extra point. The 9-year veteran Jeff Reed released this week, voiced his frustration about the field conditions, the media, the fans. And Sweezum converts. Ben Roethlisberger leading this Pittsburgh offense today to a 14-3 lead over Oakland. Ben Roethlisberger, a 35-11 career record at home. 16-yard touchdown run for Roethlisberger. He saw all the real estate that he had on that left side, and most QBs, they take the slide and then take another crack at it with a 1st and goal inside the 5. Not Ben.
He's not like most QBs. No, very few there are that big or that tough or that willing to lay it all out there to get in the end zone.
Sean Sweezum will kick it off. The Canadian, Jacoby Ford, is standing at the goal line. Short kick. Ford from the 7. Ford flagged down as he is sprawled out across the 30-yard line by Anthony Madison, who continues to make plays on special teams. It's a 23-yard return. Penalty marker at the 19-yard line.
During the return of the kick, illegal block in the back, receiving team number 54. This penalty to be assessed half the distance to the goal. First down.
Sam Williams called on the penalty.
Yeah, you talked about real estate. I think it's cheap here in Pittsburgh. Watch the receivers for the Steelers come this way. The Raiders are in man-to-man coverage, and now you're going to see some real estate open up for Roethlisberger. I mean, that is nearly half the field. Brown finally comes up, expects to slide, can't make the tackle. Touchdown, Pittsburgh.
Having a chat with the veteran Charlie Batch. Michael Bush is in the game as Oakland is looking for some combination to work on offense. Bush, the more bruising runner of the two between him and McFadden, met there by Lamar Woodley, picks up 2.5 or 3.
You asked last time the Raiders had the ball line when we might see the Wildcat. I'm not sure we'll see it backed up here. Tom Cable told us he's willing to use it when necessary at any part of the field except when they're backed up.
Well, the Raiders have 15 scoring drives this season when starting within their own 20-yard line. That's tied for the most in the NFL. And deep in their own territory here, a 2nd and 8 from the 12. Bush remains in there to help on blocking. Campbell steps up. Ball slapped away! Harrison got to it, and Campbell able to cover up for Oakland. It'll go down as a sack for James Harrison. That's number 8 on the season for Harrison.
Well, Harrison's working against Valdir, actually working on the running back this time, Michael Bush. Great job of just getting around Bush, reaching out. Jason Campbell has a long, loopy delivery, and Harrison was right there to cause the fumble.
And Pittsburgh has called a timeout. James Harrison, you see what he has done, forcing fumbles throughout his career. Pittsburgh with a 14-3 lead. Tomorrow on television's #1 news show, a bank heist in broad daylight, and the suspects are multiplying. A new Hawaii 5-0, that's tomorrow, only CBS.
Book 'em, IMO.
No, that's not the same.
Oh.
3rd and 14 for the Raiders. 3:10 to play in the second quarter. Campbell, pump and throw, sideline route, and incomplete. Flag comes down as Lewis Murphy was matched up with Ike Taylor out on the perimeter.
They're going to say that Ike Taylor forced Murphy out of bounds. Ike protesting quietly, arms folded.
Pass interference. Defense number 24. Cut off the receiver's path to the ball. Automatic. First down.
You agree?
Well, let's check it out. I'm not so sure he does here. He's running side by side. That left arm there, that's it right there. That's the call. That's the arm bar. And that's a good call by the officials. You cannot impede the receiver's progress to the ball by sticking your arm out like that.
7 penalties costing the Steelers 93 yards so far in the first half. Rush is coming, fake the handoff. Campbell steps up in the pocket. Campbell throwing on the move, and a bullet to Louis Murphy, who fumbles the football. Farrior had it initially. He coughed it up. And the Steelers have got it. Lawrence Timmons over there for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and Ike Taylor makes amends immediately after the pass interference call. Watch Taylor on Murphy. Good route by Murphy to get to the outside. Watch the right hand of Taylor here. Bang, ball's out. Great play by Ike Taylor, setting his team up. And how smart was Mike Tomlin to use a timeout moments ago. Good field position, a lot of time left here in the first half.
So Louis Murphy, who had missed the last 2 games against Seattle and Kansas City after a bruised lung, and there's some bleeding from the top of the nose of Murphy. Pittsburgh with a 14-3 lead. They can add to it. 2:49 to go in this first half. 1st and 10 from the 35. Roethlisberger sits and throws. Matt Spaeth extending. He's got the clean catch, short of a first down. It's an 8-yard pickup, and the clock is moving.
This is the 4th catch of the year for Spaeth, so Roethlisberger throwing the ball to somebody the Raiders don't expect to be part of the pass pattern. It's 8 different receivers now that Roethlisberger has dealt the ball to. That's perfect for an offense.
And a 2nd and 2 now for Pittsburgh. Mendenhall in the backfield. They give it to him. Mendenhall breaking free of the initial contact, but Shaughnessy able to stick with the play. And no gain. Matt Shaughnessy with the tackle, and we'll hit the 2-minute warning here at Heinz Field. Pittsburgh, 14-3 lead. They can tack some more points on the board before halftime. We're coming back. Head coach Mike Tomlin, defensive coordinator Dick LeBeau's Pittsburgh defense. 22 takeaways at 2nd in the NFL, just behind the Chicago Bears, who did an excellent job on Thursday night knocking off Miami. And the Bears continue to surprise people. Steelers trying to improve to 7-3, just like Chicago. This is a 3rd and 2. 2 minutes to play, first half. Roethlisberger throwing. And they convert to Hines Ward. Brought down by the safety Michael Huff. A 5-yard pickup for Ward. The move the chains for Pittsburgh.
And that's the key. Move the chains to keep the drive alive here. Take time off the clock as you move down the field. But Hines Ward totally unstoppable. Huff had coverage, but not enough strength to keep him from getting that first down.
1st and 10 at the 22 now of Oakland. Mendenhall in the backfield. Shotgun for Roethlisberger. Looking long. Caught by Sanders. Touchdown Steelers. A perfectly thrown ball by Roethlisberger, and Sanders with the catch.
And a fight. Flags are thrown this time.
22-yard touchdown. Roethlisberger slow to get up. Richard Seymour was right in the middle of it.
Now Richard Seymour, he may be facing a fine for this one.
On this dead ball action. The
Maybe
first
an
is
ejection.
against Oakland. Personal foul. Number 93 has ejected himself from the game for his actions. Personal foul against Pittsburgh, number 68. Open-handed slap to the head, 15-yard penalty. Both of these fouls will offset. The score is good, and they will offset on the kickoff.
Roethlisberger saying something to Seymour that he didn't like, and that will get Seymour ejected from the game. Punching Roethlisberger right in the chops there. He's getting checked out on the sidelines. It was not Tommy Kelly. It was Richard Seymour. Kimiwatu was called for a personal foul, but was not ejected.
Well, Seymour remains on the field. Tom Cable's trying to figure out, who did you eject from the game? You said 93. Is it 92 or 93? They're both still on the field, Seymour and Kelly.
Are you going to go and tell Seymour he's got to leave?
That's not going to come from me.
Not my job.
And now Mike Tomlin wants an explanation. He knows that it was Seymour that was the one that got involved with Roethlisberger.
23 is Jeremy Ware, the rookie from Michigan State. Great throw, great catch by Sanders as he bounces into the end zone.
Second touchdown in as many weeks.
And the fans just saw on the big board, replay board here, the punch by Seymour. And maybe they will tell Seymour he's got to go.
There is a correction. After discussion with the other officials, it was number 92 from Oakland who's ejected.
So it will be Seymour. And his day is done at the 1:26 mark of the second quarter. Roethlisberger, the celebration. And there's the pop from Seymour. Richard Seymour, 5-time Pro Bowler, the 10-year veteran. He's been a leader of this defense. Cameron Wimbley telling us that a lot of guys look up to Seymour. He doesn't say a whole lot, but when he talks, it has an impact. And there's a feeling within the Oakland defense that in games we don't want to let him down, is what Wimbley said.
Well, I think Seymour just let his team down. Short walk to the locker room for an early shower.
And it was Roethlisberger who said in our sit-down with him that he believes Richard Seymour is the defensive MVP in the NFL this season so far.
He may change his mind after that.
He might. Squeeze him on for the extra point. Pittsburgh has opened up a 21-3 lead over Oakland. Flashbacks to the 70s here today in Pittsburgh. Don't forget, second half of the doubleheader, the showdown, the rivalry, it continues. The Indianapolis Colts and the New England Patriots. We'll have it for you here on CBS.
You know, back in the day, Ian, whenever I would go up against a Marino or an Elway or a Jim Plunkett, it gets your attention just a little bit, and you want to be perfect, you want to beat them, and I know that's the feeling that both these quarterbacks have coming up later on. I mean, two of the best of all time, and they just play at such a high level each and every time out, especially against each other.
So the Colts and the Patriots should be a fun one coming up here on CBS. Now Ben Roethlisberger and Byron Leftwich is back up, having a chat. Charlie Batch is in there as well, along with offensive coordinator Bruce Arians. They're smiling about it now. Obviously, Ben was not smiling after the contact from Richard Seymour, and now Sweeten will kick it off to Jacoby Ford. It is returnable. 3 yards deep in the end zone. Ford takes it out. Ford angling towards the outside, and he is bottled up shy of the 25 by Emmanuel Sanders on special teams. Don't forget, coming up, the Sprint Halftime Report. JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, Coach Cowher, the latest NFL scores and highlights, all coming up on the Sprint Halftime Report. Total yards in this quarter, Oakland with 3.
They have just 49 total yards in the entire first half.
They've been putting up huge offensive numbers over the last 3 weeks. Shotgun Campbell. And Campbell is sacked and loses the football. Farrier, first man there.
And Carlisle got the fumble recovery for the Raiders, but Farrier got a sack earlier in the ball game, and that time he came free one more time. Something about this blitz that the Steelers are running, 51 from the right side, along with Woodley. Woodley's going to jump on the back of Campbell and force the fumble that Carlisle recovered.
46 seconds and counting left in this second quarter. Oakland over the last 3 weeks has averaged 458 yards of offense per game. They have scored an average of 38 points per game over that span. They've been outclassed so far in this first half. McFadden getting the call, and he has been limited, to say the least. 7 carries for 8 yards. Nick Eason there defensively.
And when you go back to the Raiders' first drive, when they did score their 3 points, it was aided by a couple of personal foul penalties against the Steelers. So offensively, McFadden been bottled up, and Campbell looks totally rattled now because of the pressure that he's facing from the Steelers.
Pittsburgh uses a timeout. They still have 1 remaining, 17 seconds remaining. It's been a long first half for Jason Campbell. 5 of 12 for 55 yards. No running game so far for Tom Cable's squad. 11 rushing yards. Now we asked Cable about the Pittsburgh Steelers. He said, look, watching them on film, their 2 outside linebackers are elite. Timmons has become the straw that stirs the drink for them defensively, taking pressure off of Polamalu. They can come at you from so many angles, yet a week ago, New England picked them apart, made them look like a subpar defense.
They had no pass rush against Brady, no sacks against Brady, no turnovers. They have corrected those problems today against Oakland.
Now a 3rd and 13 for the Raiders. Campbell, they'll throw underneath. Miller finally able to haul one in. And time is ticking away. Now stopped with 8 seconds left. Pittsburgh will use a timeout. Well short of a first down for Miller. So the Raiders will have to punt here on 4th down. Wednesday on Showtime, JB, Chris Collinsworth, Warren Sapp, and Phil Simms come your way on Cable's longest running show, the multi-award winning Inside the NFL, every Wednesday on Showtime. And part of the routine for Shane Lechler.
I hope nobody trips over one of those capsules.
I don't think it's going to play a big role like that, do you? You're really offended by the littering. Antonio Brown is deep. Brown fields at the 28. Circling, looking for a hole, cutting to the outside, now cutting it back. And that'll do it for this first half. A flag comes down at the end of the play. And an injury as well. Trevor Scott is grabbing his left knee.
During the return of the kick, illegal block in the back, receiving team number 33. As this is the final play of the half, this penalty does not extend the half. The half is over.
But it could be a costly special teams play for the Raiders. Trevor Scott, they're working on that left leg. And the domino effect. If the Raiders were able to get a first down, they would have avoided a punt, and they may have avoided an unnecessary injury on special teams to one of their starters. End of the first half. Pittsburgh with a 21-3 lead over Oakland. We'll come back. The Sprint halftime report is coming up after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Back in the 70s, we know that the Raiders and the Steelers didn't like one another. Is it coincidence that here in 2010, there's still some bad blood? Richard Seymour actually tossed from the game after a punch on Ben Roethlisberger. We're at halftime. Pittsburgh leading Oakland 21-3. Right now, let's take a look at the points of protection presented by Allstate.
Yeah, really obvious for the Raiders. They've got to protect Jason Campbell because they're getting absolutely nothing out of Darren McFadden and the run game. You know, where is the run? Well, there you see it. McFadden coming in, averaging 5.5 yards a carry. He's averaging 1 yard a carry today. Pittsburgh, they got to protect this lead. They last time they had a good lead in the first half was against Cincinnati a couple weeks back and did not play well down the stretch.
Ian Eagle along with Dan Fouts. One of the themes coming into this game The idea that Oakland is playing a relevant game in the month of November hasn't happened since 2002. That's the last time the Raiders made the playoffs. They've stepped up in weight class, though, today, no doubt, after victories over Denver, Seattle, Kansas City. Pittsburgh is at a different level.
Well, and the Raiders, last time out against Kansas City, they did trail at halftime to the Chiefs and got the spark from Jacoby Ford to return that opening kickoff of the second half. They need something like that today to get the feeling back to being positive. Right now, this looks like the Raiders of the last years or so before they got things turned around this season.
On the flip side, the questions surrounding Pittsburgh bounce back after last week's game against New England. They got outclassed 39-26 in that loss to the Patriots. Mike Tomlin told us one word: unacceptable. And on Wednesday, he put his team in pads for practice. He said we needed to roll up our sleeves, get back to work. We just didn't play well last week. Felt the team had an excellent week of practice. It has translated here today at Heinz Field. Sweezum, the new kicker for Pittsburgh, kicking off to open up this second half to Jacoby Ford. And the Raiders looking for a spark from the 6-yard line. Ford puts his head down and is brought down just short of the 26. Steelers claiming they've got the football. They don't. The Raiders do. Kieran Fox comes away with the ball, but the play was whistled dead after the 20-yard return. Jason Campbell under a lot of pressure in the first half, Dan.
Well, he was knocked down, sacked 3 times. James Ferrier had an excellent first half. When you think about the pass rush for the Steelers, it's going to come from the linebackers. You saw Harrison, you saw Lamar Woodley and Ferrier all getting after number 8.
Jason Campbell has won 3 straight games. He lost his starting job to Bruce Gradkowski. Then Gradkowski was forced out because of a separated throwing shoulder. Here's Campbell to throw. Nice looping pass for Johnny Lee Higgins. And Johnny Lee Higgins forced out of bounds right around the 35-yard line. It's a 9-yard pickup. There is Gradkowski, a Pittsburgh native, Seton LaSalle High School. Last year, the Oakland Raiders came into Pittsburgh and knocked off the Steelers. They shocked the Steelers. Remember, Pittsburgh got off to a great start last season, then fell apart, losing 5 consecutive games. It was December 6th. Oakland with a 27-24 win. Gradkowski, an 11-yard touchdown to Murphy to win it with 9 seconds left. Marcel Reese getting the opportunity. It's a 3-yard pickup. And a fresh set of downs for Oakland to work with. Timmons with the tackle.
And 2 positive plays for the Raiders coming out of the locker room after a very disappointing first half. See if they can keep that momentum going.
The Raiders were 3-8 when they came into Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers last season behind 21 fourth quarter points. It's going to take that kind of effort here today in the second half to rally. Campbell, play fake. And a strong throw to the sideline. Was Murphy inbounds? No. Incomplete.
And the official right on the spot got a lot of help from the Steelers sideline. Murphy could not bring both feet in as he makes this catch. Good throw by Campbell. But at some point there, Murphy's got to drag that back foot. Right foot in, left foot way out.
The momentum carrying Murphy out towards the perimeter. It's 2nd and 10 now for Oakland. It's a pitch for McFadden, trying to get him on track. And McFadden expecting contact. He's down just short of the 40-yard line. He picks up 2.5 yards. Chris Hoke combining with Bryant McFadden to make that play on Darren McFadden, no relation to Bryant.
Well, the one unique factor about the way the Raiders can run the Wildcat offense is they've got experience at that position. McFadden has done it. Michael Bush has done it. Even Jacoby Ford has done it in their past, whether in high school or at college level.
11 yards on the ground for Darren McFadden. 3rd and 7 now for Oakland. Shotgun. Raiders trying to convert here. Campbell goes down and then touched down by James Harrison. Campbell could not maintain his footing on the sprint out. It's the 4th Pittsburgh sack of the afternoon. Harrison now has 9 on the season.
Well, you ought to just give Harrison half a sack here and give the field the other half. You can see the big tuft of grass up right there. And down Campbell goes, and Harrison will take the full sack.
Leckler punting, Antonio Brown waiting. Brown fields at the 22. And Brown hit from behind by Hiram Eugene, a 50-yard punt, a 6-yard return. Ben Roethlisberger has been terrific. First possession for Pittsburgh, second half. Steelers with a 1st and 10 at their own 28-yard line. A handoff for Rashard Mendenhall, trying to bust it to the outside, and flags come down. Mendenhall brought down by Branch and Huff after the gain of 1. And Tony Corrente has been a busy man.
Holding, offense number 85.
And that's David Johnson called on the hold.
10-yard penalty, remains first down.
Plays tight end, plays fullback, H-back. And Johnson heads to the Pittsburgh sideline. 8 penalties for 103 yards against the Steelers here today. And yet they still lead at 21-3 over Oakland.
Bad news for Raiders. Trevor Scott has a knee injury, and we're told he will not come back.
So they are down Richard Seymour, who got tossed from the game at the end of the second quarter. Trevor Scott on the final play of the first half on special teams suffers a knee injury. Fake the handoff. Roethlisberger gets rid of it and throws it low into the ground. Tommy Kelly.
There is no foul for intentional grounding. His receiver, number 21, was in the area.
Kelly supplied the pressure. Roethlisberger threw it in the area of Mewelde Moore. And Ben Roethlisberger, he's been involved with a number of things here today, including a rushing touchdown, a touchdown through the air, and then the celebration and a knockdown.
Yeah, I think he'll take everything but that.
Well, he took that.
Unfortunately for him.
2nd and 20. Shotgun. Roethlisberger, rush coming again. Set up the screen, and the Raiders ready for it. Mike Mitchell in the right spot to bring down Mewelde Moore. And a penalty marker on the far side of the field. Loss of 6.
Illegal formation. Offense number 71, not on the line of scrimmage. This penalty is declined. 3rd down.
And some concern right now for Pittsburgh. Marquise Pouncey is limping towards the Steelers sideline. And Doug Legursky, the backup center, will step in. Pouncey has been tremendous. Rookie out of Florida, number 18 pick overall. Pittsburgh has obviously had great centers, classic centers through the years. And they think Pouncey can be a 10-year guy. Snapping the ball. 3rd and 26. Roethlisberger, dump off. Moore accelerating. And he's banged down. Mewelde Moore. 2 more flags come down.
And maybe another injury to a Steeler offensive lineman. Chris Kimiwatu is on the ground.
Offense number 68. This penalty be assessed half the distance to the goal. Repeat, 3rd down.
Kimiwatu was nursing a knee injury. He did not play against New England. Marquise Pouncey on the previous play forced to the Pittsburgh sideline. They are now working on the veteran guard. Chris Kimiwatu will step aside. 3rd quarter in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh punting. Daniel Sepulveda to Nick Miller. And he backpedals to the 18-yard line. Going up the middle. Brought down as he crosses the 20 by Stevenson Sylvester. Pittsburgh getting banged up on their offensive line. Last week, the Pittsburgh Steelers gave up 453 yards of offense to the New England Patriots. They've allowed 54 yards to Oakland today. A sling and intercepted. James Harrison on the pick. Campbell trying to connect with Marcel Reese. The Raiders turn it over.
Well, it just can't get any worse for the Raiders than the way they're playing this afternoon against the Steelers. Heads up by Harrison. He had Reese in coverage on this play. Ball thrown just a little bit behind Reese. How about that grab? 2nd interception of the season for Harrison, and great field position for Roethlisberger.
Harrison just filling up the stat sheet. 4 tackles, 2 sacks, a forced fumble, a pick. Steelers take over 1st and 10 at the Oakland 28. Mendenhall with David Johnson in the backfield. Give it to Mendenhall. He's got a running lane. Flag down. Mendenhall cutting it upfield and forced out of bounds inside the 5. Looks like it's coming back. 27-yard run.
Holding, offense number 64. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
And 64 is Doug Legursky.
But Legursky's playing right or left guard for Chris Kimiwatu. Marquise Pouncey back in the game, although he's limping. Here's Legursky right here, left guard. And this nullifies a heck of a run working against Desmond Bryant. And at that point, you just got to let him go. That's what the officials are looking for, that point of attack blocking. And once the running back goes by, the defender turns, you got to let the defender go.
1st and 20. Handoff. Mendenhall. And just about everybody there prepared for Oakland to limit him to a 2-yard gain. Penalties. That's been the one black eye for Pittsburgh.
Well, there's been 9 of them, Ian, for 113 yards. The Raiders offensively have only gained 54 yards. Twice the penalty yardage.
Now, right now, Pouncey is back on the sideline. He was in for a play, then limped off. So Legursky, who was lined up at left guard, is back at center. And now Trey Essex is coming at left guard. He's also the back of a tackle. Fake the handoff. Roethlisberger took a look downfield, didn't like what he saw, and now goes down. He is sacked by Lamar Houston. The 3rd sack of the season for the rookie out of Texas. As we head to New York, check in with JB.
Ian and Dan, take a look here. A 9-play, 92-yard drive by the Jets. Cap Sanchez hooking up with Santonio Holmes. 41 yards on that pass play there. It is now Jets on top. It is 21 in the New York Jets case. Back to Ian and Dan.
And JB, Mark Sanchez and that Jets offense playing at a very high level right now. Poised to improve to 8-2 on the season. No Jericho Cotchery today. No problem in the passing game. Roethlisberger steps up in the pocket. Floats one over the middle and dropped. Mike Wallace.
Yeah, Wallace had so many options. If he had made this catch, you can almost see those options going through his mind as that ball was floated towards him by Roethlisberger. He was wide open in the middle of the field. There he is, number 17. Yeah, he took his eye off the ball, looking to run.
Now, we asked Wallace what has Hines Ward taught him. He said, look, he's taught me to always be accountable. You can't take plays off, how to be a pro. So that one was on Wallace. Fair catch called for by Nick Miller. They'll have it at the 5 after the 36-yard punt. The Raiders down 21-3. 19th all-time meeting in the regular season between the Raiders and the Steelers. On 1st down, Darren McFadden getting the carry, and he picks up 4 yards. Ziggy Hood and James Farrier collaborating to bring down Darren McFadden. It'll be 2nd and 6. Defending the run. This is since 1950, the fewest rushing yards allowed through the first 10 games of the season. The 2006 Minnesota Vikings allowed 606 rushing yards. Right now, the Steelers have given up 589 and expect to see a lot of passing here for Oakland if it keeps going the way that it's headed. Campbell trying to get it to the outside, and Jacoby Ford, he bounced it.
Yeah, I think he saw the tight coverage by Bryant McFadden and decided against giving him a good pass. That's frustrating day for Tom Cable and his entire football team. And that play right there kind of capsulizes the afternoon so far.
Now, Campbell told us he feels like every week they find a new guy on offense to step forward. The most recent one being Jacoby Ford. They have not found one here today. 3rd and 6. Pittsburgh crowding the line. Here they come. Campbell gets rid of it. Intercepted. Ike Taylor, a pick six.
We may have a personal foul penalty on James Harrison as you can see the effect of the hit on Jason Campbell. This may nullify the touchdown there.
Roughing the passer. Defense number 92 hit the quarterback and landed with full body weight on top of him. This penalty will be assessed 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
James Harrison. His name comes up every week.
We can hear the crowd reaction as they saw it on the board. Let's us take a look at it. The penalty is for hitting him and driving him to the ground. Boy, I tell you what are you supposed to do if you're James Harrison? If Campbell had the ball, that would be a legal tackle. He had it hit him right as he let go of the ball. I think that's another bad call by Tony Corrente. He got Lamar Woodley in the first quarter of the game on a very questionable call. That was even worse. I mean, I'm starting to believe what Jack Lambert used to preach, to put all these quarterbacks in skirts.
Wait a second.
That's what he said, not me.
That was your position. Lawrence Timmons there defensively. And a flag thrown on the far side.
Really? Another flag, huh?
Yeah. Seems to be a trend.
May have gotten Woodley for being in the neutral zone here.
There's no play. False start. Offense. The tight end. 5-yard penalty remains. First down.
Are there different rules for different guys, Dan? I think that's the question. When you watch the Steelers, they feel like right now the league is focusing in on them and their style of play.
I think the key term is repeat offenders. Harrison has been fined. Woodley has been fined in the past. And these fans, they're getting into it now, trying to defend their defenders. But that was a ridiculous call.
10 penalties, 128 yards against the Steelers. Farrier trying to time that play. Raiders are upset.
There's another flag down. He didn't time it.
Offside. Defense, number 51. 5-yard penalty. Repeat. First down.
I don't think I've ever seen a game quite like this one, Ian. Watch Farrier. That is real close to perfect timing. Almost like the LeVar leap, if you will, from Penn State. A little bit too early.
The Pittsburgh Steelers have twice as many penalty yards as the Raiders have total yards of offense. And it's 21-3 Pittsburgh. Campbell in the pocket. Campbell. At a penalty marker down. Back at the 19-yard line.
This probably be holding against the Raiders.
Holding. Offense, number 64. 10-yard penalty. Repeat. First down.
Well, maybe I could just put that part on tape so I don't have to say it after every play. A penalty down.
I think both these teams need a timeout. Go to their corners, you know, see the cut men, get some water, just relax. This could get really ugly the way this is going. Not that it's been very pretty so far.
We still have 7.5 to go in the third quarter.
The Raiders have got to show some spine now. They've got to respond to the way the Steelers are pushing them around.
1st and 20. Running play. Nothing there for McFadden. Penetration from Hoke, among others. No gain on the play.
And Troy Polamalu was the first to get in the backfield. You can see Dick LeBeau's not satisfied defensively. He's calling all types of different blitzes now.
Hall of Famer Dick LeBeau. Still connects with the young players and the respect level that these defensive players have for Coach LeBeau. It's off the charts. 2nd and 20. Miller goes in motion. Protection is there initially. Campbell fires high. Jacoby Ford takes a hit. And Ford helped up by Johnny Lee Higgins. It's 3rd and 20 now.
James Harrison dropping deep into his pass responsibility. He's got Ford man-to-man. How about that? Sees the ball in the air, and then he's going to make sure that the rookie feels his presence.
Well, the Pittsburgh native Bruce Gradkowski get an opportunity at some point. He's standing right next to Tom Cable with the helmet on, and he's antsy. This crowd is deafening. 3rd and long for Campbell. McFadden can't hold it. The Raiders will punt. And one of the uglier sequences that you're going to see.
James Ferrier almost came away with the interception as the ball bounces off the hands of McFadden.
Shane Lechler will punt. Antonio Brown standing at his own 34-yard line. The Oakland Raiders have lost 7 games in a row after the bye week. Moving forward is Brown. Catching in stride. Right up the middle. Slow down. And Brown finally brought down at the 33-yard line. Hiram Eugene.
That's such a heads-up play to run up and catch that short punt from Lechler and give his team more great field position.
The Pittsburgh Steelers 6-3 losses this season to Baltimore, at New Orleans, and New England last week. They got a 21-3 lead. Roethlisberger tried to dial up the deep ball, instead dump off for Matt Spaeth. And a flag comes down. 8-yard pickup for Spaeth. Brought down to the 25-yard line. Tom Cable saying it was a fumble, loose football. That's the case the Raiders are making right now. The officials huddling up. Cameron Wimbley went down as Spaeth had the hit. He goes down, and the ball popped free.
Yeah, I think this is down by contact here. Yep, once that elbow hits the ground, the ball came out.
The ball was dead. Creates 2nd down. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense. A player came in, hit the player off the pile. 15-yard penalty. It'll be 2nd down.
Now this game has been like a barroom brawl right from the very start. First play from scrimmage, we had a scuffle, and it's continued right into the second half.
Yeah, no fumble there. And now somebody's going to get picked off the pile. Yeah, it looks like, oh boy, that body's flying everywhere. Not sure who got picked off what pile.
Well, Trey Essex had his legs taken out from under him. Pittsburgh can't afford to lose another offensive lineman. Legursky is in for the injured Pouncey. Give to Mendenhall on a 2nd and 17. Houston combining with Cameron Wimbley to bring him down.
12 penalties accepted against the Steelers, 5 penalties accepted against the Raiders, and we still got a lot of ball game left.
Line of scrimmage is the 39. It'll be 3rd and long now for Pittsburgh. Coming up on 5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Shotgun formation, Roethlisberger. Steps, throws, up in the air, end zone. Mike Wallace fighting for it, Michael Huff. And they were out of bounds. It's 4th down for the Steelers.
And Roethlisberger shaking his head because he knows he was late. Left side of the screen. He finally sees Wallace, but Wallace was way behind the defender, Michael Huff. Heck of an effort by Huff to pick this ball off, but he was out of bounds, but Wallace was open at the goal line.
There is nobody back there for Oakland on the punt return. And a timeout called by the Raiders with 4:51 to go in the third. Tonight on CBS, for the first time, two teams may have to turn back. A new Amazing Race. That's after 60 minutes tonight only. CBS.
Raiders only had 10 men on the field. Johnny Lee Higgins coming out to be the return man. Nick Miller had been returning all the punts so far in this ball game. See the frustration from head coach Tom Cable.
And with all the progress that Oakland has made this season, getting themselves back into relevance in the NFL, they just have not been able to put it together in any phase today.
You look at the three opponents that they beat. Okay, Denver, who's struggling, Seattle, and Kansas City. I don't think any of those teams are in the class of the Steelers.
Johnny Lee Higgins, the return man, and this one will roll to the end zone. He made the right decision, although it was close. And Bruce Gradkowski, Pittsburgh native. Last season, he led the come-from-behind effort for the Raiders against the Steelers. You see his numbers from last year, 20 of 33, 308 yards, 3 touchdowns here at Heinz Field. And Gradkowski now will operate this Oakland offense.
And some of the folks remember Gradkowski from his days here in high school and last year. Probably more remember him from last year and the way he beat the Steelers here in a huge upset.
In his 5th year from Toledo, formerly with Tampa Bay and Cleveland, very popular in the locker room because of his grit and his attitude. Fake the handoff. Gradkowski stepping up. Gradkowski out of trouble, throwing on the move. Comebacker. And it is a clean catch for Johnny Lee Higgins against Troy Polamalu. So Gradkowski on his first play from scrimmage makes something happen. 6-yard pickup through the air.
And no ill effects of that shoulder injury. Jason Campbell looking on, started the game 2 for 2. Since that point, was just 5 out of 17 and was harassed almost every time he went back to throw the pass.
1 interception for Campbell. Had another one nullified that went back for a touchdown because of a penalty against Pittsburgh. So 7 of 19 for 70 yards and a pick for Campbell today. 2nd and 4. Floater. Bush with the catch and able to keep his legs moving for some extra yards. He did a lot of work but only picked up a yard. Ziggy Hood over there defensively. It sets up 3rd and a makeable 4. Offensive struggles for the Raiders today. Rushing yards, 19 of them. They average over 162. Passing yards, they average just under 200. They have 46 today officially. Total yards, 65. They came in 12th in the NFL in that category. 361 yards per game. We'll call it a 3rd and 3 for Oakland. Gradkowski working from the gun. Passes on time for Zach Miller, and Miller's got a first down across the 30-yard line. Needed 3 yards. They got 3 yards.
That's just a second 3rd down conversion out of 9 tries for the Raiders. And Gradkowski providing the spark now with 3 out of 3 off the bench.
So a 1st and 10 now at the 30-yard line for Oakland. Trying to put together a long drive. They did score on their first possession. Janikowski 41-yard field goal. Penalty marker down.
False start.
False start. Offense number 64. 5-yard penalty remains. First down.
And it's the center, Samson Satelli. Formerly with the Miami Dolphins, a 2nd-round pick in 2007. Trying to get on the same page with Bruce Gradkowski.
Well, there is a change in the quarterback's cadence when a new quarterback comes in. And this crowd has been loud, but that's inexcusable for the center to false start.
1st and 15. Bush releasing out of the backfield. They tried to jump the snap. Gradkowski gets rid of it, and it's caught. Good grab by Brandon Myers. Penalty marker on the play, thrown at the 25-yard line.
You really are starting to repeat yourself a lot.
I think I have to come up with new terminology.
Offside, defense number 92. This penalty is declined. The result of the play, first down.
So that'll go down as a clean catch. Gretkowski to Myers. Yellow laundry on the field. That's another option. Can go with that.
Here's Harrison, and he's going to get a quick start there. This is a heck of a catch by Myers. Gretkowski put it out there. Good reaction by Myers.
1st and 10 at the 41 for the Raiders. A minute 47 to go in this third quarter. Play fake. Gretkowski rifles into Pittsburgh territory, and Jacoby Ford is there for the catch. It covers 11 yards.
And what you're seeing out of Gretkowski is no hesitation. He knows where he wants to go with the ball. He's getting it out of his hand before the pass rush can get to him. And this is a good sharp route by Ford, just turning around in the dead zone there between the linebackers and picking up another Oakland first down.
So the Raiders have moved it to the Pittsburgh 48. Gretkowski, a perfect 5 of 5 now in relief of Jason Campbell. Handoff for Bush. Up the middle, Bush. Finally a big gain in the running game for Oakland. Polamalu slid down low to bring down Bush, but he got sprung loose for 24 yards.
It's a draw play right up the middle. And when you're throwing the ball well, the best counter to that on the ground is the draw. And Bush takes it all the way to the 24 for a 24-yard gain.
Another first down for Oakland. Some signs of life for this Raiders offense with Gretkowski at the helm. Fake the running play. Gretkowski throws too high. He was looking for Jacoby Ford.
And I think Gretkowski either heard or felt the rush coming, because he launched that ball off his back foot before the pressure could get to him, and that's why it was so poorly thrown. Never really set his feet.
And Gretkowski now 5 of 6. 37 yards through the air.
But no negative plays since he's been in there for the Raiders.
Eighth play of the drive, 2nd and 10. Play fake. Gretkowski has plenty of time. Gretkowski, deep drop, throwing on the move and through the hands of Marcel Reese. A high throw covered there by Lamar Woodley, the outside linebacker.
Yeah, Marcel Reese, a former wide receiver at the University of Washington, playing right near the sideline. Should have had that catch.
20 seconds to play in the third. 3rd and 10 now for the Raiders.
They don't get it on this, and I'm sure they'll go for it on 4th down, trailing by 18.
From the gun. Steelers are coming. Gretkowski unloads. Intercepted. Polamalu's got it for Pittsburgh. Troy Polamalu weaving his way through traffic, and he's hit from behind. Valdir with a tackle. Another turnover.
And it was against the blitz eye, and the Dick LeBeau's defense bringing the pressure forced Gretkowski to get rid of this ball. And Polamalu just playing center field. He reads the ball the whole way. The receiver was not open anyway. 23rd career interception by the former SC Trojan and the pride of 10 Mile, Oregon.
3rd pick of the season for Polamalu. Gretkowski forced it in there, trying to make a play. 7 seconds remain in this third quarter. And Llewellyn Moore in the backfield. Moore gets the carry. That'll be the final play of the third. A lot of emotion today from the Pittsburgh Steelers. End of the third, 21-3. Pittsburgh in front. This is the NFL on CBS. We head to the fourth quarter here at Heinz Field. The Pittsburgh Steelers 21, the Oakland Raiders 3. A barometer game for Oakland to see where they're at following the bye. They've got their first winning record this deep in a season since 2002. Roethlisberger in stride to Mike Wallace. And Wallace is gone. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. The pure speed of Wallace getting around Stanford rout, and this is officially a rout in Pittsburgh.
I remember when Wallace dropped the pass over the middle in the last possession. He was not going to drop this one. This is just pure speed after the catch as he sees a hole right there, sharp cut. And now forget about it. If you're a linebacker or a safety, you're not going to catch number 17.
The big playability of Mike Wallace. Squeeze him on for the extra point. Mike Wallace. The news is good for Pittsburgh. Mike Wallace, 8th touchdown of the season for Wallace. Having a big year. No Santonio Holmes. They traded him to the Jets. Wallace has taken over that big play wide receiver spot for Pittsburgh. And Sean Sweezum will kick it off. It's been an uneventful day for the Steelers' new kicker. Nick Miller is deep. Jacoby Ford just went to the locker room for Oakland. Miller fields at the 5. And he's brought down at the 20. This week, Dave's all new with Jerry Seinfeld and Medal of Honor recipient Staff Sergeant Sal Junta. Plus tomorrow, Jessica Simpson, followed by Craig Ferguson, only CBS. So Bruce Gradkowski will get another crack at this Pittsburgh defense. He had the Raiders moving and then threw the ill-advised pick to Troy Polamalu deep in Steelers territory.
First and 10, Raider ball at the 20-yard line.
First and 10 of the 20 for Oakland. Gradkowski in for the ineffective Jason Campbell. From the gun. Rush coming. Dump off for McFadden. And Darren McFadden is hit from the side. 6-yard pickup by Farrior. Let's go to New York. NFL Today update. JB.
Hey, Ian and Dan. A Bill Cowher drafted quarterback Brian St. Pierre involved in his 88-yard pass play for a score to David Geddes. Last week, a stay-at-home dad. This week, a nice bit on his resume. Ian and Dan.
Yeah, it beats diapers. I can tell you that. He's got an 18-month-old at home. What a story. Brian St. Pierre for Carolina. Through the hands of Zach Miller, incomplete. But Miller trying to work himself back into the flow, and it's been a fairly rough day for the productive tight end. Last 8 possessions for Oakland.
Yeah, a lot of punts and, of course, the fumble and the interception, 2 interceptions, but just sloppy play. Ineffective offensive line play has led to that graphic right there. It'll be very puzzling to Tom Cable.
Tom Cable has not had the services of his Pro Bowl cornerback Nnamdi Asomugha out with an ankle injury today, missing his 2nd consecutive game. This is a 3rd and 4 now for Gradkowski. Little floater handled by McFadden, and he's got a first down out across the 35-yard line. And Ryan Clark, who was down early in this game, is hunched over again. Ryan Mundy will come in to replace him. Clark, the 9-year veteran, formerly with the Giants in Washington. He's been a steady, underrated safety for this Pittsburgh squad. And Clark's going to get a breather. Raiders will have it. 1st and 10 at their own 36-yard line. Still early in this 4th quarter.
Yeah, Gradkowski showing a lot of touch on that last pass. Looped the ball over the linebacker's head right to McFadden to pick up the first down.
We're told that Jacoby Ford went to the locker room for Oakland for an IV. Get some fluids. And a new set of downs for the Raiders to work with. Gradkowski gets rid of it quickly. And Nick Miller with the catch for 4 yards. Miller in his 2nd year from Southern Utah. Tackled by Ryan Mundy.
Yeah, Miller just his 2nd catch of the season. But right now it's all hands on deck with Jacoby Ford in the locker room, as you talked about, Ian.
Oakland has not been to the playoffs since 2002. Buffalo and Detroit have not been to the playoffs since 1999, so it's not the longest streak in the NFL. Bush, tackled by Harrison, picked up 3 yards on the play.
Yeah, but Detroit and Buffalo is not the kind of company you want to keep.
No.
Or visit.
28-3, Pittsburgh in front of the Raiders. Gradkowski. Polamalu comes in to make the play on Zach Miller. So he closed quickly there as Gradkowski put it out there for the tight end.
And this is a day to forget for Zach Miller. He's had his hands on a number of balls that he hasn't been able to pull in. This one thrown low by Gradkowski, and Polamalu there to break it up.
And Shane Lechler on the punt.
Why punt? Why punt? You're 4th down, midfield, down by 25. You got to go for it, don't you?
And a timeout taken by Pittsburgh. That'll give Tom Cable and company a little more time to think about it. 4th quarter action from Heinz Field. More of it when we come back. And Oakland will punt after the timeout taken by Pittsburgh. Lechler, Antonio Brown has been deep throughout the day, and Arnaz Battle now, or make it Antoine Randall getting an opportunity. Timeout. Pittsburgh Steelers 1st and 10 at their own 14-yard line. Handoff to Rashard Mendenhall, and it'll be a loss on the play. Lamar Houston over there defensively. Richard Seymour was thrown out of this game in the 2nd quarter for taking a shot at Ben Roethlisberger. Trevor Scott went down with a knee injury on the final play of the first half, covering on special teams.
And they're still jawing a lot after each play, aren't they?
It's been happening throughout the day, right from the very start. But it's the Raiders who have been knocked down by the Pittsburgh Steelers over the course of the afternoon. 2nd and 12. Roethlisberger, look at the room. Roethlisberger a 1st down and then some. Angles out of bounds and a penalty marker right at the end of the play.
Probably going to call holding on the outside there. The wide receivers blocking for this quarterback. 32-yard run may come back.
Holding, offense, number 86. 10-yard penalty remains, 10-yard penalty still results in a 1st down.
The penalty yardage, when they add it all up, is going to be silly.
That 32-yard run, Ian, was 4 yards shy of the entire Raider output on the ground today.
28-3 Steelers. It is a 1st down. They just don't get the full extent of the yardage. 13 penalties for 158 yards. That's a new Pittsburgh record. Give to Mendenhall. And tackled at the 35 by Shaughnessy, sliding down to get him. A gain of 2. So as Mike Tomlin talked about getting back to work and rolling up the sleeves, he put his team in pads, which isn't something you hear quite often at this stage of the year in practice on Wednesday. He'll be happy with a lot of what he saw. He's not going to be happy with the mistakes and penalties.
Yeah, but I'm going to think he's going to go back and review them and see that a lot of them, some questionable ones, but a lot of them were effort penalties. Like that last one, that was just Hines Ward trying to protect his quarterback.
2nd and 8 from the 35. Mendenhall. Good cut by Mendenhall, but Rout was able to stay with it. A 3-yard gain for Rashard Mendenhall. Had a rushing touchdown earlier today. 48 yards on the ground for Mendenhall, and now he'll head to the Pittsburgh sideline. Roethlisberger has 47 on 2 carries.
And a touchdown on the ground.
And 2 through the air. 16 of 26, 222 yards. It's 3rd and 5 now for Pittsburgh. from the gun. Roethlisberger upstairs and over the head of Hines Ward. Incomplete. 4th down, Steelers.
Some type of miscommunication at the end of this play. It looked like Roethlisberger wanted Ward to go deeper on the route. Ward, covered by a Stanford route, turned it into a more of a sideline route at the end.
This Pittsburgh team started 6-2 last season. They've started 6-2 every year under Mike Tomlin. Now in his 4th year as the head man. Miller on the return, and Miller is dumped at the 16-yard line. 52-yard punt and a 28-3 lead for the Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers trying to close the door on the Oakland Raiders, 28-3. We've got 9:43 to go in the 4th in a game that has been dominated by the Steelers. The black and gold going against the silver and black. Shotgun, Gradkowski, second quarterback in today for Oakland. He throws to Louis Murphy, and Murphy ducks out of bounds. Rushing comparison, Darren McFadden leading the NFL in rushing yards per game. He's got 14 today. Ben Roethlisberger has 47 and a touchdown on 2 runs.
Rashard Mendenhall has 47 yards rushing on 20 carries, so maybe Ben ought to run the ball more.
You believe that, or you're just going off the numbers?
The numbers don't lie.
Really? Bush gets the call up the middle for 3 yards and a 1st down for Oakland. You can build your own football dynasty and compete year-round with CBSSports.com franchise football. Find out more at CBSSports.com/franchise. First down for the Raiders, under 9 minutes to play. Gradkowski. And Gradkowski getting in on the running act. James Harrison supplying the pressure. It's a 12-yard run for the Pittsburgh native. The Oakland Raiders came in at 5-4, riding a 3-game winning streak, having won 4 of their last 5. Same record as Kansas City atop the AFC West standings. The Chiefs, though, taking care of business today against Arizona, and the Raiders are not. The San Diego Chargers still very much alive despite their poor start and what has been a strange season for Norv Turner and company. Another first down for the Raiders. Gradkowski will go down. The pressure, and the pocket just collapses as Bryant McFadden will get the easy sack.
Another sack for Pittsburgh, and it's been mostly the linebackers. But McFadden, this is twice this season he's gotten a sack. None will be any easier than this one as Gradkowski just looks for a place to hide as Timmons was coming as well.
And a happy birthday to Brian McFadden, his 29th birthday. We asked him about this defense. He said, well, Dick LeBeau's got about 1,500 plays that he could call up at any time. He puts the team in a position to succeed defensively. They really looked at last week as an anomaly against the New England Patriots. Gradkowski lets it fly. Incomplete. Louis Murphy, the intended receiver. And it'll be 3rd and long now for Oakland.
Yeah, it's almost as if LeBeau's used 1,300 different defenses today against the 2 quarterbacks, Campbell and Gradkowski. And you can see the effect of a blitz on one play. It speeds up the quarterback's clock, throws the ball early, throws the ball poorly, and it's another incomplete pass.
Up next for the Oakland Raiders, they'll host the Miami Dolphins and wonder if there will be another quarterback controversy in Oakland after this one. Gradkowski coming in for Campbell. Campbell 7 of 19, 70 yards. Gradkowski 9 of 15, 66 yards. Throwing. Louis Murphy goes to the outside on the out route, and Gradkowski was not able to get it to the other shoulder, and it's James Harrison slow to get up.
He's got a face full of turf too in his face mask as he hit the ground face first.
Training staff comes out for Pittsburgh. Steelers a 28-3 lead over Oakland. There is a hunk of turf here at Heinz Field, and that's exactly what James Harrison got. It came through the face mask and clearly made its way into his cornea. They've been shooting liquid into his eyes ever since they got to the field. Antonio Brown is back there for Pittsburgh. Leckler another punt. Brown fields. And he's tackled down to the 16-yard line by Thomas Howard on special teams. So Roethlisberger will stay in there with 7:16 to go and his team up 28-3. What's coming up for Pittsburgh? They'll be at Buffalo and then at Baltimore. That'll be a big one. Home games against Cincinnati, the Jets, and Carolina.
But only 2 teams with winning records. So Steelers back on track after an embarrassing loss to a good team last week in New England.
Last season they were 6-2, just like they were this season. They lost 5 in a row last year. Overtime loss in Kansas City, a part of that, and Oakland coming in and beating the Steelers here at Heinz Field. Rashard Mendenhall. And Mendenhall heading towards the sideline. Mike Mitchell over there to make the play defensively. And it's a 7-yard pickup. Well, Dan, as you know, we have a fantastic crew week in and week out. And 2 of our crew members are Pittsburgh residents. Terry Rosich, our technical director and cameraman extraordinaire. Keith Reese. Home games for those 2.
Yeah, Keith working the cart cam. Doing a great job. And, of course, yeah, there he is. Who switched those pictures?
That's Terry.
Yeah, good job, Terry.
2nd and 3 now for Pittsburgh. Handoff to Mendenhall. And he is buried at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Quentin Groves over there defensively. Well, the buildup for this game, Dan, was Oakland ready to take that next step? Were the Raiders capable of going on the road against a high-quality team like Pittsburgh and coming out with a win? The answer has been a resounding no.
Well, you know, in a battle of tough guys, they both build themselves such. Pittsburgh was tougher today, mentally and physically.
3rd and 3 now for the Steelers. Roethlisberger out of the gun. Steps up, and Roethlisberger's going to run for the first down. He's been so effective using those legs. 3 carries for 55 yards and a touchdown as he wipes a little dirt off the helmet.
And if I'm Mike Tomlin, I'm saying, okay, that'll do it. Let me see who else we got that can play quarterback. Let's get Big Ben out of there. Obviously, I'm not Mike Tomlin, so Roethlisberger stays in the ballgame, but this is a dangerous time.
You know, especially the tenor of this game.
Yep.
And the fact that Oakland is frustrated right now, who knows? You got a free lick on Roethlisberger. Raiders are going to take it.
Well, and the other thing, Roethlisberger's not going to change the way he plays.
No.
He's not going to slide. He's going to go for it. And, could be his own worst enemy at times.
Mendenhall with a 4-yard gain. Desmond Bryant over there defensively. And a timeout called. Oakland has 1 timeout remaining. We've got 5:02 left on the clock here in Pittsburgh. Coming up, Indianapolis at New England. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, they duel once again. And we've got all the action for you. The NFL on CBS. That's next.
And pass protection obviously is going to be a key in that one, Ian. Be interesting to see how New England handles Freeney and Mathis coming around the corner on Tom Brady.
And the game, which was already important, all of a sudden for New England, the Jets are down to Houston 24-23 with under 2 minutes to play. Jets and Patriots came into the day tied atop the AFC East. So Pittsburgh with an opportunity to use more clock here, but they're going to throw it. Roethlisberger dials up the deep ball. It's Wallace down there, and he hauls it in against Michael Huff. Ben Roethlisberger with a 38-yard hookup to his second-year receiver out of Mississippi, Wallace.
Wallace over 100 yards receiving and just 3 catches today. And again with Mike Huff right on his back, pulling this one in.
He put up career highs last week, Dan. 8 catches, 136 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Career highs in all 3 categories. He's on pace for 1,200 yards receiving in his second year. A pitch for Mendenhall. And he coughs up the football at the end of the play. Oakland's got it. Tyvon Branch over there to make the play initially. And the recovery by Quentin Groves. Pittsburgh turns it over.
And this will give Mike Tomlinson something to yell about, as head coaches always want to yell about something, even when a team blows out their opponent. Just the 6th fumble lost by the Steelers all year. Lack of concentration by Mendenhall.
61 yards on the ground for Mendenhall today on 24 carries. He does have a touchdown, but also has a fumble on his ledger. And the Raiders have it, 1st and 10 at the 24. Just over 4 minutes to play. Michael Bush in there for Oakland. Gradkowski remains at quarterback. Harrison again trying to time it, and flags come down.
Encroachment, defense number 92, unabated to the quarterback. Excuse me, defense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
14 penalties against Pittsburgh. It's a new record for yardage. 163 on the yardage tally. Most penalties by one team in a win, 22. The Chicago Bears back in 1944.
That would be the monsters of the Midway Bears, right?
It would.
Especially that day.
Well, today they've been the princes of the penalty. Ke'Aaron Fox. Ball bounced off his head with 4:04 to go, and Pittsburgh in front 28-3. Well, if you're Tom Cable, you really felt this team had broken through. And it's one thing to lose in Pittsburgh. I don't think anybody would look at that as a low point necessarily for Oakland. It's the way you lose and the fact that they never really were in this game. Moved by Brandon Myers, and he gets out of bounds. 5-yard pickup. And they were unable to match the toughness and the guile of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Fantasy leaders, Donovan McNabb, big numbers. Fitzpatrick has been putting up huge numbers, but they haven't necessarily translated to wins. Rushing leaders, Maurice Jones-Drew, who's a big fantasy football player himself. I'm sure he activated himself today for 133 yards and a touchdown. And Greg Jennings, 3 touchdowns, 152. Steve Johnson has 3 touchdowns himself, 137 yards for Buffalo. First down, Gradkowski, deep drop, throwing off his back foot to Myers. And Myers gets out of bounds. 3:48 to play.
Yeah, I played in games like this on the losing end, and a player would come towards our sideline like Myers just did right there, and our guys would keep him on the field.
So we want to get out of here.
Do not run out of bounds. Come on, man. Keep that clock rolling.
If you're Oakland, what are you looking for right now if you're Tom Cable? You can't have a 25-point play in your playbook. You just want some form.
Something positive. That's all.
Yes,
yep.
Positive before you walk out of this building.
A touchdown would be a perfect tonic right now for the Raiders.
Gradkowski trying to hit Michael Bush.
But what happens so much with the Steelers, you got to be so worried about their blitzes, you go with maximum protection, so you only have 3 receivers to work with, sometimes just 2, and the Steelers know that. They're double covering everybody. Just very few options for Gradkowski down the field, so you're seeing a lot of these little dump-offs.
Down to 3:43 remaining. Pittsburgh has been comfortably in front basically since the second quarter. Gradkowski unable to hit his man in stride, Johnny Lee Higgins. And on 4th down, they will go for it. 4th and 3 with 3:40 to play.
And if you're wondering about the Raiders this year on 4th downs, pretty good. 5 out of 11. Couple of the secondary men, Taylor and Polamalu, earning their time off right now. Both created turnovers.
On fourth down, Gradkowski, it's incomplete. Unable to hit Brandon Myers, and the Raiders turned it over on downs. Ke'Aaron Fox over there defensively for Pittsburgh. Coming up for the Oakland Raiders, home game against Miami, then at San Diego, at Jacksonville, Denver and Indianapolis at home, and they wrap things up in the regular season at Kansas City.
But it's important to note that the Raiders have already beaten everybody in the AFC West, San Diego, Kansas City, and Denver. So that's the important thing, how you do within your division. Raiders are perfect so far.
Well, no change at quarterback, a change at running back. Isaac Redman is in the game. And Redman, trying to keep those legs moving for extra yardage, could not break free of Tyvon Branch, and a timeout taken. 30th carry of the season for Redman. Short yardage option mostly in his first year from Bowie State. Don't forget, second half of the doubleheader, it's a big one. Indianapolis at New England right here on CBS. The Colts and the Patriots, Jim Nantz and Phil Simms will have the call for you coming up.
Well, as good as Tom Brady looked last week against the Steelers, that's going to be a real challenge for Indianapolis and Manning, because Manning is still working with so many new receivers because of so many injuries.
Roethlisberger on the day, 17 of 28, 259 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's got a rushing touchdown as well, 55 yards on the ground. And a 2nd and 10 now for Pittsburgh. Oakland has no timeouts left. Running lane for Redman. And a first down inside the 25 for Pittsburgh. Longest run of his NFL career, 18 yards for Isaac Redman.
Yeah, the Raiders crowding the line of scrimmage, trying to get a turnover. Stop Redman in the backfield. That creates a little crease there. And 18 yards later, another first down for Steelers.
Down at 2:48 and counting left in the fourth quarter. And Redman finds another alley for Pittsburgh. Good run by Redman. Legs were churning, 6-yard pickup. And the Steelers using more clock. This will take it right to the 2-minute warning.
And a lot of questions surrounding the Raiders. They came in with such confidence after their bye, their 3-game winning streak. And now it's one of those things we got to go back to the drawing board. They do get an opponent in Miami that's got a lot of problems in their next game at home. A lot of questions for the Silver and Black.
2 minutes to play here in Pittsburgh. The Steelers will improve to 7-3. Two minutes to play here at Heinz Field in a game that has been controlled by the Pittsburgh Steelers, 28-3 over the Oakland Raiders. 2nd and 4 for Pittsburgh. At the 18-yard line, handoff to Redman. Raiders cannot stop the clock. They're out of timeouts. Redman picks up 2 yards. The win for Pittsburgh puts them at 7-3. Baltimore has won. They're 7-3. And then Cleveland and Cincinnati look it up in this division.
Buffalo a big winner today. That's Pittsburgh's next opponent, and then they get Baltimore.
Third and 2 for the Steelers. Miller goes in motion. Roethlisberger on the flip. Redman for the touchdown. Isaac Redman, his first NFL touchdown. And the Pittsburgh Steelers pouring salt in the wound against Oakland.
It's just a simple screen pass. The Raiders in man-to-man coverage and nobody covering number 33. You could drive a bus through that hole.
You know, conventional wisdom would tell you, oh, they're pouring it on. That's a rookie getting the ball with nobody in front of him. What's he going to do?
And plus, it's not a pass play where you're going down the field. It's almost like a long running play. So,
and a flag down on the extra point from Sweezum. 35-3, Pittsburgh.
At the conclusion of the play after the extra point, personal foul, defense number 93. This 15-yard penalty be assessed on the kickoff.
I get Tony Corrente a Ricola. He's announced 21 accepted penalties between these two teams. 14 against Pittsburgh. Well, if you're an NFL fan and you hear Raiders and Steelers, what do you think of, Dan?
Well, you might think about this play. The immaculate reception, Jack Tatum knocking the ball back to Franco Harris. Did it touch the ground or not?
Yeah.
Well, upon further review, we didn't have a review, did we?
Why didn't Madden challenge that play?
Terry Bradshaw just letting one rip.
13-7 win. Franco Harris racing down the field in one of the classic moments in NFL history, and certainly one of the top moments in this rivalry, the Raiders and the Steelers.
And anybody that's visited the Pittsburgh airport will see a statue of Franco, and the ball did not hit the ground in the airport either.
I think we'll see it in about 40 minutes from now.
Unless there's another penalty.
Sweezum kicking off. And Jacoby Ford is back in there. Lets this one bounce. Raiders will have it at the 20-yard line with 1:12 to go. When we wrap up, it will be Indianapolis and New England. Big matchup for you, the NFL on CBS, game 2 of our doubleheader. Right now, let's head to New York. JB with an NFL Today update.
INN trailing 27-23 were the New York Jets. They put together a 5-play, 72-yard drive in 45 seconds, capped with Sanchez hooking up there with Santonio Holmes. They win it 30-27. Back to Ian Eagle and Dan Fouts.
Oh boy, the New York Jets finding ways to win week in, week out. And they seem to do it in dramatic fashion consistently. Michael Bush on the catch for Oakland.
Yeah, you almost get the feeling about the Jets. Are they this year's New Orleans Saints?
Right.
Remember the role the Saints got on last year? They took it all the way to the Super Bowl. I mean, it's that old destiny thing, that fate deal. Jets are due.
Shotgun, Gronkowski. And tries to flip it as he was going down, and he'll be ruled down. Jason Worilds, rookie out of Virginia Tech. That'll be his second sack of the season.
That was an all-worlds sack.
They've had an all-worlds day getting to the quarterback. 6 for Pittsburgh. Final seconds now at Heinz Field. The Oakland Raiders humbled today against the Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers bounce back after their performance last week against New England. They thumped the Raiders at home 35-3, the final. Ben Roethlisberger, 18 of 29, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns to lead the Steelers, and a rushing touchdown as well. Mike Tomlin's team, strong showing against Oakland. For Dan Fouts, the rest of our CBS crew, this is Ian Eagle. Coming up, it is Indianapolis and New England, the NFL on CBS.